Welcome again to the Naked Truth. This will be episode 8, as far as I remember. Yeah, episode 8. Now, today I'm going to do a slightly different one because we're coming up to the anniversary of one of my all-time heroes, Ray Vaughan, who died on the 25th of August, 1991. I think it was. Let me check now. I have to get my own. Yeah, 1990. And so, well, I'm not actually going to talk about him, but somebody else who was with him at the time. And this episode is going to be called Lucky Escapes. And I've actually done a blog on it earlier today, and I was just reminded of it when I was listening to Ray Vaughan this week at home. I love his music. He's a great guitarist, but it also reminded me of another artist. Two artists actually. There was one is Eric Clapton, another hero of mine, and also Holly Johnson, who I would not consider a hero. Actually, I would consider him a slightly annoying person. But nevertheless, I have to agree that he has a good voice. He's a great artist. For you who don't know who Holly Johnson is, he was the singer and with Frankie Goes Hollywood, the 80s band, legendary 80s band. Of course, were banned at one stage for this single Relax. Well, I'm not going to talk about the band today, so you can figure out yourself why they were banned for that on BBC mainly for the single Relax. Just Google it, I would say, and you'll find it out. But let's start off with Ray Vaughan. As I said, he died on the 25th of August 1990. He died during a helicopter crash. Now, he had done a few concerts together with Eric Clapton in Wisconsin, and after the last concert, they took helicopters to fly to Chicago for the next gigs. Now, there were 4 helicopters altogether, and Ray Vaughan took the 3rd helicopter together with 3 of Eric Clapton's entourage. They all went to the same flight. Now, the rumor had it years ago that Eric Clapton was supposed to be on that flight as well, but he has denied that. He said that's actually not true. He'd never given the seat to Ray Vaughan, but nevertheless, they more or less traveled the same time, just on different helicopters. Now, unfortunately, it was a very foggy day that day. Ray Vaughan's helicopter, they crashed into a mountain on the way to Chicago, and that's how he died. It was very sad, and I still remember to this day. I was working at Philips at the time. I was coming home. Well, actually, after my shift, I was working until about 11. After my shift, I went to my local pub, which was a blues rock cafe in the Netherlands. And when I walked in, it was a very eerie kind of feel in the place, kind of very somber. Really, people were sad, and I saw a big man actually crying there. Bikers with tattoos or piercings all over the place, and they were crying. And I asked, "Well, gee, what happened?" I thought someone. One of the local guests had died, or one of my drinking mates had died, but they said no. Actually, news is broke that Ray Vaughan had crashed and died, and it was just, to me, there's only 3. No, usually I don't really care too much about celebrities or about musicians as such. It doesn't upset me that much that when they die. Well, of course, I'm a bit sad, but it's not like. I feel like many other people would feel like they think someone close to them has died. Generally, that's not the case. There's 3 cases where I did feel a profound sadness, and Stevie Ray Vaughan was one of them when he died, because as I said, he was one of my guitar heroes, someone I looked up to. He was a great man, and as far as I know, he's a nice man as well. He had some problems in his life, but he got through it, and yeah, and he was just a genius on the guitar. The way how he played Jimi Hendrix songs was just fantastic. He played Voodoo Child better than Jimi Hendrix could do himself, and it's just an amazing guitarist. No, the other two that touched me was, of course, Elvis Presley. I was only 9 at the time when he died, and I always was a big Elvis Presley fan. And when he died, I still remember the day. I came in from school. I came home, saw my mother in the kitchen there with a friend of hers, a friend of my father. Actually, he was a lodger as well. And he stayed in our house, and my mother said, "Well, do you know who died today?" I said, "No, I don't." So Elvis died, and I was trying to be the tough guy. So what's to me, like, it's just a man. But I remember I went up that day to my room and I cried all day. I was just heartbroken. No, and the third person that touched me is because she was so young. So were Elvis and Stevie Ray Vaughan, but there was a death that was completely avoidable, as I was Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries. Such a great artist, such a great voice, and so sad how she died in January a couple of years ago. So yeah, that's those three. But as I said, I'm talking about lucky escapes. Now, Eric Clapton also was on his route from the same gigs, going to the same gigs in Chicago, and he survived. Lucky he didn't take the same helicopter, and so he went. He survived. He's still alive. But it was sad because Eric Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan's brother Jimmy Vaughan had to identify the corpses at the morgue, and no one should ever do that, really, after a horrific crash. I can only imagine what they had seen. Now, and as I mentioned earlier, I also want to talk about Holly Johnson. Now, I never really got Holly Johnson as an artist. I always found him slightly annoying. I think it's all to do with his accent, and of course it sounds a bit shallow, but I can't help it. I'm a man. But of course, as a person, he's probably a nice person. But as an artist, I never got it. I always found him a bit arrogant, and I never saw why, because he was a singer, but he wasn't. I don't see him as a great singer. Provocative maybe, but not a great singer. Having said that, though, we can't deny that he did have, together with Frankie Goes to Hollywood, they had a few great songs, a few great hits as well. So Relax was one of them. Two Tribes is another one, and Power of Love, which is a great song. It's often played as a Christmas song. Why, I don't know, because there's nothing to do with Christmas. I do know that they actually did do a Christmas themed kind of video with it, but the song has nothing to do with Christmas whatsoever. But that's what brings me to actually his lucky escape. It was not too far away. It's just only a few days before Christmas in 1988, on the 22nd of December 1988. He was supposed to go to New York for a meeting with his management team because he was breaking up with Frankie Goes to Hollywood. He was going to go solo, and whatever he did in London at the time, I don't know what it was, but he got delayed, and then the taxi got delayed, and they got stuck in traffic, and he was supposed to go on Pan Am flight 103 for that day and to New York. And through all of his rigmaroling, he was late. He came 50 minutes late, so the plane that had actually gone on that stage had left, and he was raging at the time. And so legend has it that when he went either home or to his manager's apartment, and the manager actually went to get a glass of water. The kind of both still reeling from what had happened to them. They had missed the flight, and they didn't know what their future's going to hold now, and things like that. So they were both very annoyed. But then when the manager went for water, when he came back, he saw Holly Johnson glued to a television set, to the television screen, and he was looking at which can only be described as a war scene really, because that flight, Pan Am 103, was brought down by Libyan terrorists at just over Lockerbie, and we all heard about the Lockerbie flight, and he was supposed to be on that particular flight that day. Just shows you that sometimes when you think you're going through something very annoying, it might be a blessing in disguise. So that's basically, and I could have probably done a very short version of the naked truth, but sometimes you just have to accept things for what they are, because you don't know what good they will do, and you just don't know how much harm you might have been saved. So I think that's actually, I want to leave it with that. So I hope you enjoyed this slightly more, I won't call it upbeat, but different version of the naked truth. Probably a bit less political as otherwise, but yes, I still think it's a great story to be told of both Holly Johnson and Eric Clapton, and of course also Stevie Ray Vaughan. So, but I won't be playing Stevie Ray Vaughan for you. I want you to all go now and find a Stevie Ray Vaughan song to play. I would recommend either Tin Pan Alley or Voodoo Child. You just can, they're both very long, they're about 8 or 9 minutes long, but they won't bore you for 1 second, and you just can relax, listen to it, chill out, and listen to the great tones, great guitar play of Stevie Ray Vaughan. So see you next time, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, learmedia.tv on YouTube, where this is going to be broadcast. So by all means, do subscribe and share this video as well with as many people as you can if you like it. If you don't give out yours either, because we're doing our utmost here to entertain the people in these dark days of COVID. So Sloan, and see you next time.